Anoai kako, aloha kakahiaka, aloha awinala, aloha ahi ahi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are when you're viewing this. Lulani Arquette ko'oinoa. I'm the president of the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. I am Kanaka Maoli, Native Hawaiian on my father's side from the Kameyamoku Waipa Parker family line from the Big Island of Hawaii. And on my mother's side, the Lytle Gees, who settled in Pennsylvania and South Dakota. I acknowledge and I honor my original homelands in the Hawaiian Islands. And we also really uplift and respect the many traditional homelands, ancestors, and relations from all four directions across this continent, Hawaii, Alaska, and from the places which you are from or you currently reside. We all know that Indigenous peoples have honored, protected, and stewarded these resources for thousands of years, and we continue for 1,000 years more with that responsibility. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to our LIFT program webinar. You may know that this call is pre-recorded and will also be available on our website for further viewing. And in the past about 12 years now, we have found that Native artists and organizations in urban communities and in rural reservations and many other places are doing really profound work to strengthen Native communities, to change misconceptions about Indigenous peoples and Native arts, and really to ensure the continuity of our valuable cultures. Now, we understand that there is an urgent need to provide opportunities for newer career artists to develop your artistic practice and lift your voices, and to expand your networks with communities and multi-sector partners to help contribute to positive social change. Native artists, Indigenous communities, and tribal nations, we have vast knowledge to share. And our contemporary culture, our language, our arts, we have lived and practiced these today. They are a demonstration of our beautiful sovereignty and our Indigenous resilience. We have gained strength, we've gained resolve through our histories and cultures, and that has helped us work together with one another and with all peoples in this country and endear them to our magnificent cultures and valuable contributions. So at this time, NACF is opening our call to our third round of LIFT Awards, and you are on really good hands with the program team, Reuben Roqueñi, Laura Kells Matalka, Mick Rose, and Amber Ball. We really want to be helpful to you folks and to those of you who have interest in this program and help to make it clear and understandable how you can really apply and develop your grant proposal. And we're grateful for all that you do through your artistic voices and your creative vision. So mahalo nui. And over to you, Reuben.
Thank you, Lulani, and greetings, everybody. My name is Reuben Roqueñi. I'm the Director of Transformative Change Programs here at the Foundation. I am Yaqui and Mayo and Mexican-American. My pronouns are he and him. And I currently live in Portland, Oregon. Portland rests upon the traditional unceded homelands of many tribes, including the Multnomah, Wasco, Cowlitz, Cathlamet, Clackamas, bands of Chinook, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Molalla, Siletz, Grand Ronde, all of whom made their homes here along the Columbia and Willamette rivers, which run through Portland, and you can see a picture of that there. Today, Portland is home to over 60,000 Native people who descend from over 350 federally recognized tribes from here and from other places across the country. I want to talk to you today about our LIFT program, but first I want to speak to you a little bit about NACF's history and how we arrived in this moment. NACF launched its programming in 2010. And over the course of the next 10 years, our work featured a number of programs, including our fellowship programs and the Community Inspiration Program, both of which served as foundations for LIFT. Here's a little sampling of that. The National Artist Fellowships Program ran from 2010 through 2018. It served 90 artists across many disciplines. There was also a Regional Artist Fellowship Program that served 23 artists. There was also the Mentor Artist Fellowship Program, which ran through from 2017 to 2020. It supported 31 artists and over 30 apprentices, some of whom were emerging artists. So after our 10th year, we moved into a period of reflection and planning. And during that time, we conducted research among the arts and culture community, including our previous awardees, to set the course for the next phase of our journey. Revealed during that research was that support for emerging artists is crucial. To become good at anything can require years of practice and literally thousands of hours. It can be extremely challenging being an artist, as you know, especially an artist that is just beginning to spread their wings. Likewise, it can be very difficult for artists early in their careers to find the resources they need to do their work. We feel, therefore, that to support emerging artists is to foster the continuity of our respective communities and cultures. That said, this program provides critical support to Native artists with one-year awards to develop and realize new projects. The program encourages artists to uplift communities, to advance positive social change, to point courageously towards environmental sustainability, and to foster communal meaning making. The program consists of a suite of activities that include grant making, artist professional development, evaluation, communications, and marketing support. But the primary objective of this opportunity is to support artists who are developing their voices and for whom the award may serve as a launching point for their career. So essentially, this is a slate of services. As part of the program, award recipients will participate in trainings facilitated by NECF and designed to provide education around project management, small business development, career advancement, and artistic development. Another example, as part of the program, the recipients will participate in 2 virtual gatherings of the awardees to share their projects, to build relationships, and to share best practices. We want to express, too, that at any phase of the project, NECF can serve as an advisor, as a co-planner, as a co-facilitator to realize the development and presentation of the work. Of course, there will be financial support provided. The awards are $10,000 for 1 year. And in 2023, we will be making 15 awards. How do we define emerging? It's a great question. For us, an emerging artist has less than 10 years experience. Please note that changing artistic disciplines does not restart a career. We take a look at your career across disciplines in aggregation. So for example, if an artist has been a musician for 12 years, but has only recently begun to create film, the artist isn't considered emerging because they are working in a different discipline now. Age is not a determinant. Early career can be described by youth, somebody who's 18 to 30 years old, but can also be described as somebody who's more than 30 years old, but who started their arts career later in their life. Another way for us to describe that is that you may not have received a singular award of $10,000 or more in your artistic career. So who can apply? The award is available to independent US-based Native artists as opposed to collectives. The artists must be enrolled members or citizens of federally recognized American Indian tribes. or members of Alaskan Native corporations or of Native Hawaiian ancestry. We support practices across the board in many disciplines, but there are some that we don't provide support for. So please take a look at this slide here and the list of the disciplines at the bottom, but also really go to the website to take a look at that before you dive into a proposal. If you are a previous recipient of an NACF award, you can apply as long as you receive that support prior to 2021. So the process works by pretty simply. So you will be required to submit an application. In the application, it will describe all of the project's activities, what communities will be engaged, what issues will be addressed. You'll have to provide work samples, a timeline, and a budget, all fairly simple. After we receive all the applications, then a panel of our peers will review that pool of applications. The panel is made up of artists and arts administrators and curators and other experts in the field. After they do all of their review and score them, then 15 awardees will be selected. All of the applicants will then be notified, including the awardees, about the panel's decisions. Timeline for all of that. First off, the deadline is March 14th. In July, August, we'll notify all of the applicants about those decisions. In fall of 2023, later this year, a public announcement will be made about all of the recipients. And keep in mind that the award period stretches from September 1st, 2023 through August 31st of 2024. So now I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to my colleague, Laura Kales-Matalka. She's going to talk to us a bit about the online platform Submittable that is used in order for you to submit your applications. Take it away, Laura.
Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Kales-Matalka. I'm the program manager here at Native Arts and Cultures Foundation. I'm zooming in from Portland, Oregon. I'm a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation, and my pronouns are she, her. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm here to walk you through how to submit a LIFT application using Submittable. So your first step will be to go to the NACF website, click on the Programs tab and go down to the LIFT page. There you'll see links for eligibility and criteria and the application for LIFT. Before proceeding to the application, make sure that you visit this eligibility and criteria page. This has really important information about the program and the application process. We give an overview of our program services, eligibility for the LIFT program, a timeline with some of the major deadlines for the application and the start and end of the award period, an overview of the application so you know what to expect and prepare, our selection process and review criteria, and answers to frequently asked questions. You have the option on this page to download this information as a PDF. So you can save it onto your desktop or print it out and reference it as you're working on the application in Submittable. Once you've read through all of this information, click on the Application for LIFT button. That will take you directly to the LIFT application. There's some important information here again regarding the deadline, which is Tuesday, March 14th at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time, as well as a prompt to, again, visit our website and review the information on there before proceeding. And once you're ready to start on the application, you can either sign in with your existing Submittable credentials if you have them, or create a new account if you've never used Submittable before. Signing up for a Submittable account is very easy and it's free. Just make sure that you save your username and password because you'll be able to save your application and log back into Submittable as many times as you'd like prior to the application deadline. Once you've logged into Submittable, you'll have access to the LIFT application. The application begins with a series of eligibility questions to determine if you're eligible for the LIFT program. If you are eligible, the remainder of the application will open up, starting with your contact information. Here you'll provide the best email, phone, your mailing address, and so forth for us to reach you. Next, you'll be asked to answer some survey questions. These are maintained in strict confidence by NACF, and we encourage you to complete the survey, as the information compiled here will help us to advocate more effectively for Native artists and culture bearers. If you prefer not to answer these questions, you may simply just select prefer not to answer. After that, you'll complete the section on your project narrative. Here, you'll provide a title for your project, a very brief summary of your project, any historical or present day context about it. This question is optional. The project themes, specific project activities, and what the applicant artist will be doing for the project. You'll share about your previous work and how it relates to your proposed project. Your plans for engaging community and presenting the work to the public. An optional section for you to provide any additional comments or information that would be important for NACF and the reviewers to know. And a section for you to type in a 12-month timeline for your project. In this section, you can copy and paste text from another document. Just make sure that you pay attention afterwards to ensure that no special characters or formatting was lost. So review your text again after you copy and paste. And please pay attention to word limits here as well. Those are in the bottom right-hand corner. After that, you'll complete a project budget for the $10,000 NACF award. Note that at least $3,000 of your award should go directly to the lead artist applicant for their well-being and benefit. The remainder of the monies are to be spent on travel and accommodations, production costs, presenting the work, and so forth. If your project expenses exceed $10,000, please ensure that you list other sources of income to support that up in the project income section. This budget form will automatically calculate subtotals for your income, project expenses, and then a grand total for your expenses as well. In the next section, you'll upload work samples and supporting materials, starting with samples of your artistic work. We ask that you upload work samples that demonstrate the quality of your work and that all of them span the last 10 years of your artistic practice or are no older than 10 years. We encourage you to upload work samples that reflect or relate to your proposed project as much as possible. After you upload work samples, you'll have the option to fill in some text boxes with information about each sample, such as title, date, description, medium, and so on. We highly encourage you to complete those fields because it's very helpful for our reviewers so they have a clear understanding of your work. Depending on which artistic discipline you are applying under, for visual-based artists, we are asking for 7 to 10 work samples. For performance, audio, film, and video-based artists, no more than 3 work samples that are no longer than 10 minutes combined for review. And if you have a video or an audio file where only a section of it is to be reviewed, please include in the description where reviewers should start reviewing and end reviewing. And note that Submittable will only accept a maximum file size of 400 megabytes and a default maximum submission size for your whole application of 800 megabytes. So please pay attention to that when uploading any large audio or video files. If you exceed that maximum, Submittable will not let you submit your application. And for writers, we ask that you submit no more than 7 pages total of material combined for review. So you may submit one 7-page document or 2 to 3 documents adding up to 7 pages, but just please keep it under 7 pages total. To upload a file, simply click the Choose File button right here, and you can select a file from your computer or device to upload to the system. You can upload a maximum of 10 files, and the accepted file types are listed here, but we accept a variety of types of files from documents, audio, video files, and so forth. And once you've completed the work samples, you also have the option to enter in up to 5 web links. So if you have an artist website or other social media sites that are good examples of your work, you can enter those in here. Next, you'll submit your artist resume or CV, then your artist bio, followed by a letter of recommendation from a previous teacher, mentor, an arts organization, college, tribal entity, or council. In this section, you enter in the email address of the person who you would like to serve as a reference. They will get an automated email from Submittable stating that you would like them to upload a letter of recommendation, asking them to upload that no later than the application deadline. But please note, if your person who's serving as your reference does not submit their letter by the deadline, you will still be able to submit your application. So that will not prevent you from being able to do that on time. We will just have to continue to follow up with your reference to make sure we get that letter in, hopefully before the deadline. You can also add in a personal message here explaining what the request is and a little bit about the LIFT program if you'd like. But we also recommend that you reach out to your person who you'd like to serve as a reference in advance and let them know that they'll be receiving a notification to submit a letter of reference. And once you've entered in their email address and the optional personal message, then just click Send Request Now, and your reference will receive that email. And lastly, we ask you to enter in your Native heritage, enrollment, or affiliation, and documentation of your Native citizenship or ancestry. The types of documentation that we will accept are listed directly here in the application. So once you've reached this point in the application, we recommend that you go back, carefully review all of your responses, ensure that you've provided information for all of the required questions. If you have not, the system will not let you submit if you've missed a required question, or if your file size is too large for an upload. So please pay attention to that if you do run into any errors when you click submit. And once you've completed all sections and everything looks good, hit the submit button below, and you will receive an automated email message from Submittable stating that we've received your application. If you did not receive an automated email within a few minutes of hitting submit, there is a chance that we did not receive it. So if that is the case, please reach out to my colleague, Amber Ball at amber@nativeartsandcultures.org, and she'll be able to assist you and check that we've received your application. If you are having other errors and you are unsure that you've completed all sections and that your work samples are the right file size, then try clearing your browser's cache, refresh your screen, log in and out of Submittable, and try again. Sometimes that will do the trick. And most importantly, ensure that you give yourselves plenty of time to complete the application. And if possible, submit your application at least a day before the deadline or a few hours in case you do run into any technical issues or errors and need support from our team. If you have any questions about the LIFT program or your proposal, you can reach out to Reuben. You may request guidance from him if time allows, and he'll be able to provide some feedback to you. And for questions about the online application, please email my colleague Amber for support with that. You can also click the technical help button, which is the little question mark icon on the Submittable application. So thank you so much for your time today. Best of luck to all of you with your submission. We're really excited to read them.
Thank you, Laura. Very comprehensive. Really appreciate that. So everybody, mark your calendars. The deadline is March 14th, 2023, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Please be sure to note that contact information that Laura mentioned. If you have any questions about the application, including eligibility, criteria, the process, the content, be sure to contact me. You'll see my email there. If you have any questions about the online platform that Laura just described, please contact Amber. You'll also see her email there. You can find both of our contact information inside of the website and all of the information. Please assist us by completing a brief survey that will drop down on your screen. The information is gathered will remain strictly confidential. It's only used in aggregate, and it serves to guide us in our outreach. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, please post them to the Q&A. We won't be taking questions from the chat, and you can find the Q&A down at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Just click on that and you'll be able to type it in. So now we'll be moving into the question and answer phase of our webinar. And with that, I want to, on behalf of the rest of the NACF team, thank you for tuning in to the presentation, and we'll now be taking questions from our listeners. Okay, well, here we go. Thanks for sticking around for the video. Really appreciate it. We're gonna start to look at the Q&A now and pull questions from there. So, okay, here we go. So our collaborator, I'm gonna read them out since you all can't see them. So I'll read them out first and answer them as best as I can. So first question. Actually, these are 3 questions. So it looks like a 3-part question. And I recognize the name too. So let's see. Does amateur art count against the 12 years? It really depends on, any kind of definition of amateur, I suppose. It's a tough question to answer because it's not really up to us to define amateur and professional. For some, I would, for example, even myself, I consider myself an artist and a creator, a maker of things. I don't sell the work that I make. Generally, they're gifts or they operate in the public realm. So amateur, professional, kind of hard to say. I'm an artist, put it that way. So we'll have to, if there's some more conversation that you want to have around that, shoot me a note. Happy to have that conversation with you. Part 2 of the question. If I've received a grant for less than $10,000 to develop a fiction story based on my tribal language, could my grant proposed for LIFT still be centered on creating a new fiction piece based on my language? In other words, do I need to come up with a completely new subject on which to base my new creative work? Let's see. So you've received a grant for less than $10,000 to develop a fiction story based on your tribal language. Based on the eligibility, if you have not received an award for $10,000 or more, then you are eligible for the program on that term. Could your grant proposal for LIFT be centered on creating a new fiction piece based on your language? Yes, it can. In fact, in our first round of LIFT grants, there was a poet who created a book of poems rooted in her language. And then the last part of that question, in other words, do I need to come up with a completely new subject on which to base my new creative work?
As long as you didn't create a piece that you're just kind of finishing up, I'm not entirely clear about how to answer that question, but we are encouraging new work. It's one of the requirements. So if you what you mean by that question is that you are working on a piece and you received a grant for it and you want to continue working on it, that'll work for us. Next part of the question. Are shift and lift offered annually? If not, can we apply the following year? So shift in its current form is offered on a biannual basis. So we're only 3 years into this round or this phase of our grant making period. So shift was offered first in 2021, and now we're moving into the second round in 2023. Lift has been offered on an annual basis. And so in 2021, there was the first cohort of Lift awardees. 2022, last year, there was another cohort, and in 2023 will be the third. So it depends on the program. Shift biannual, Lift annual. Last question from this listener is, are collaborators allowed on Lift as they are with Shift? For Shift, we do allow artist collectives. For Lift, it is for individual artists. Now, if your project involves collaborating with other artists, that's fine. We understand that many artists work with other artists to develop and complete their projects, but the one person applies. The same is true mostly for Shift. Even in an artist collective, there has to be a lead artist, but we do consider artist collectives in Shift. Next question. I hope I answered all those for you, that listener with the multi-part question. Okay, so next listener asks, can I apply as a diasporic Chamorro person living in the US? Unfortunately, we're not serving the territories, so-called territories of the US, which include Chamorro and Puerto Rico, US Virgin Islands, Samoa. Sorry if I missed one out there, just off the top of my head, but no. Let's see. Those are the questions that were queued up in the Q&A. We'll peek at the chat just in case. Yeah, looks like Aliyah Mokulkane. I wonder if you're related to Patrick, who's a previous National Fellow. Anyway, number 4 doesn't have an actual question noted. So if you could explain that a little bit. Oh, it's about the poll. Got you. That I can't answer for you. But yeah, we'll check on it. Thanks, Mick. Any other questions out there? Can you apply, next question, can you apply for Shift and Lift? We're going to recommend no. The policy is no. It's too much for one person to take on, and should you receive, you wouldn't be able to receive both of them. We've not allowed for that. Our hope is that a Lift artist comes through the door of Lift, and then as they progress in their career it kind of preps them to move into Shift. Should we include a percentage for taxes as a budget item? It's not something that is included in the budget. That is something that you have. So for example, in the budget, in the lift budget, $3,000 of it has to go to the artist, but you don't then include the taxes on top of that. The taxes come out of that $3,000. So one of the trainings that we hope to provide is how to do your taxes as an artist. Not a whole lot I can go to in a really short time here, but do save all your receipts in terms of your expenses. There are some of them that you can write off, for example. But yeah, any kind of money you get in your hand, clearly you understand that you have to pay taxes on it, but no, you can't include the taxes in the budget. Be nice though. I've thought of that before, but okay. So if a person has received a grant for more than 10,000, that would I understand that would disqualify me from lift, but would it disqualify me from shift? No, from shift it would not disqualify you. Yeah, in fact, many shift artists have received multiple awards, some of them for more than $10,000, some of them for way more. And our hope too, as an organization, is that these award programs can serve as a springboard for you to receive other awards. We've seen that at work, that has happened for a lot of the artists that we've supported. We're very encouraged by that. The awards do hold a little weight out there. And for some artists, having that on their resume really prompts other funders to consider their work a little more seriously, I suppose. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and wrap things up. On behalf of the staff, I just want to say thank you all for attending. If you have any other questions that you need answered, or that you either haven't thought of yet, or you feel maybe we're too complicated for right now, please feel free to reach out to us. It's what we're here for. Happy to answer any of them. And with that, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in.